Okay, so today, YouTube, I just want to jump right into it. I've been hearing a lot about this YSL case, a lot about Fani Willis, Fulton County in general. There's a lot of stuff just buzzing around. You have the big case of YSL. That's a very high profile case in itself. It's already pretty much drudging all of the resources that Fulton County has. We've heard all kinds of things about public defenders who can't really afford to actually defend some of their defendants because of the fact that the money that they're given is what 15 grand for the year. I think that was maxed out recently by a judge who actually raised it from 10 grand. So we're seeing a lot of F-ups in Fulton County. And one of the recent things that's happened that came up as of yesterday is that Fulton County has mysteriously been letting detainees just kind of die off. The most recent case that came up in the news is that Monte Stinson was found stabbed in his cell. I believe he's 40 years old, and he was in there for a second degree felony charge, had $3,000 bond. So you're seeing a number of deaths happen in there for inmates who, don't get me wrong, you go to jail, you do the crime, you do the time. But I think everybody has a right to be fulfilled with justice. In the end, that should be the end result. They shouldn't be, dying in a cell. Even more so, we're hearing other deaths. There's, Christopher Smith, 34-year-old, found unresponsive. He was in there for a felony and misdemeanor. And you have a 66-year-old, Alex Hawkins, found unresponsive in a medical unit. And he was in for shoplifting, had $5,000 bond. Nobody should die for stealing. Stealing is bad, but no one should it's not a death sentence, I should say, if you get caught. Samuel Lawrence was 34-year-old, found unresponsive during dinner time. Somebody might have spiked his drink or something, I don't know. And he was in there for arson, had $30,000 bond. So most of these guys in these cases, I think only one wasn't given bond, but most of these guys in these cases, if you really want to get technical, had they been rich or celebrities, they would be alive today because they would have had that money to pay that bond. I know some states, like Florida, allow for you to put down 10% of your bond. So that means my dude, Monte, he could have went in and been out the same day if he had $300. Same thing for the 66-year-old, Alex. He could have scratched up $500 from his something and been out that same day. So that's a real cruel ending. Another thing that's been pointed out, and I'm bringing up all this stuff with the YSL case to kind of link a lot of discrepancies, and to kind of link this story as well with some of the Trump stuff that's going on in Fulton County. As of late, we know that Trump just recently turned himself in. Of course, he probably did a day or maybe a couple hours in jail. He got bailed out, but we've all seen the photo of his mugshot that's been famously distributed. But I'm tying all this in together because sometimes I see things from a different perspective, and I start seeing a real pattern, a story brewing. And I think it's very interesting to kind of bring some of these facts together. Another fact from this case is that Samuel Lawrence, one of the victims, the 34-year-old that died in police custody, he was complaining about his living standards. Now again, I know people don't give a fuck about what prisoners go through. I have relatives who have been locked up since I've been 9, so I kind of have some empathy, for how a criminal should be able to do their time. But I know not everybody feels that way, so feel how you want to feel. But he kind of was pointing out some of these things before he died, and he's the gentleman that got found unresponsive during dinner time. So he's specifically complaining about this, the food conditions. He said that he was constantly thirsty and he feared for his life. So not only could the man not eat or drink, but he also was constantly worried about getting stabbed up. Whether he had a beef, whether he was part of the gang, not a part of the gang, pissed off somebody. But this is a guy who's, in jail, has a bond, just trying to do his time, so he can get bailed out. And that was one of the things that he pointed out was a major issue. In fact, that story was published in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. So all these pieces and puzzles are coming together. I know if you've been paying attention to the YSL case, one of the things that Young Thug and his lawyer specifically complained about was the living conditions of the jail. In fact, Thugger was actually quoted saying that the food was just inedible, So here you have it, one of these high profile cases, and the defendant is complaining about some of the same things that, one of these 5 men were complaining about. And I believe the fact of why this is bringing up so much heat in Fulton County is because this is not just one death. This is the 5th death for the month. And if you want to go back some more, this is the 9th death of detainees dying under Fulton County custody for the year. So you have 9 people dead. Who else is going to die? I mean, you still got 4 months in the year. What begs the question here, one of the concerns of YSL's lawyers is that, they were arguing for bond, and they've constantly argued for bond for Thugger. We already know that Gunner was already bailed out because of, his cooperation and whatnot. And we've heard other defendants try to argue for bond and been denied in this case because of flight risk and whatnot. But the concerns here now are actually proving, Thugger's concerns. And I'm sure, I'm not a genie with a crystal ball, but I'm sure if I'm Thugger's lawyer, I'm about to motion for another bond after all these recent headaches. On top of these headaches, Fani Willis, who is the DA, who's already dealing with this monumental fiasco of a case that is YSL, is also dealing with trying to indict Trump. I mean, Trump has all kinds of stuff floating out there about her. He spread some alleged rumors about her having relations with one of the defendants in the case. I believe it was actually one of the victims as well, or one of the murders in the case that they're actually on trial for. But she completely denied those claims. Another thing that he's just, Trump is very creative in how he attacks people. Very divisive, kind of says whatever comes out of his mouth, whether it's true or not. He gets people talking. And one of the things that he's also been throwing out there is he's been asking for her impeachment. And he was doing that strongly before these things came up with the Fulton County deaths. So he's been calling for her impeachment strongly, saying that she should be fired for all kinds of reasons. not just the rumors that I've been spreading, but all kinds of reasons. And the reasons, I mean, the reasons are here right now. I mean, we have all kinds of things coming up in Fulton County. Their jury selection has been a disaster. The way they've managed, the defendants and the public defenders has also been a disaster. There's been all kinds of fiascos in the media, courtroom interruptions. I mean, you name it. You name it. This has been, I want to say this has been one of the biggest laughing stocks in the legal system that I've seen in a while. So I'm actually surprised that at this point, the feds don't pick up one of these cases, whether it's the indictment or whether it's the YSL case, because it's obvious that Fulton County spread itself out way too thin. I'm hearing that the judge that's going to reside over the Trump case is going to be a very, very inexperienced young judge who is very likely to drop the ball in the indictment. And we all know that Trump has, even if Trump lost all the lawyers that he has on his legal team right now, with the money that he has, he can ramp up a whole new legal team. So I just kind of wanted to shed light on some of the interesting things going on in Fulton County. I saw that headline and I was like, man, this is golden right now. This is crazy how things are developing, and I'm sure we're going to hear more. So I would definitely expect another motion for bond, and given the recent circumstances, I don't see how a judge can deflect the defense saying that, my defendant is in danger. So Thugger might get a win soon. We don't know, but I'd stay tuned. I just wanted to really crack at this and hear y'all thoughts. Do you think that Thugger's gonna get that bond? And also, how do you think this YSL case is rolling out as it develops? So please give a like, comment, subscribe. This is TNN, your boy Rims. I'm out.
Listen.